I want to thank you all for coming to join us for the Leveling Up Your Professional Reiki Practice event presented by St. Paul's Free University. I am David M. Masters, lead coach and trainer for St. Paul's, and founding member Daniel Mark Schwartz and I will be hosting the event. And let me tell you, we have a lineup of professionals like you've never seen before. In this live stream for Reiki Masters, we are going to give you the keys to unlock your Reiki practice and take it to the next level. The next level represents offering more services, serving a wider audience, and expanding your income earning potential from your existing Reiki practice. And if you are a Reiki master and you haven't been offering your services to others, you are doing yourself and your community a disservice for not doing so. But not to worry. After attending this event, you'll be ready to rock your new empowered Reiki ministry or business. And we're here to help you do this. Right, Daniel?
Thanks, Dave. For those of you who are able to watch the entirety of the presentation, you will be eligible to earn a certificate presented by St. Paul's Free University, the Certified Reiki Professional. This is a printed certificate suitable for framing, mailed to your door, and for a limited time, free. In order to receive the certificate, you will need to watch all the way through these presentations and take note of the instructions for applying for your certification at the end of this video. In the first part of 3 parts of these presentations, our experts will be sharing with you ways that you can level up your Reiki skills from master to far beyond. Up next is the founder and head teacher of St. Paul's Free University, David M. Masters. David Masters has many decades of business experience running successful life coaching practice and as a well-seasoned energy healer. Today he's going to be sharing with you the methods of lightning Reiki.
We're going to start off today with empowering you with the free Lightning Reiki plugin to add to your practice. Now, this plugin is only for Reiki Level 3 Reiki Masters. And note that in a few minutes, you'll need to have a quiet space where you are not distracted to receive your attunement. Now, let me tell you a little about what to expect from your Lightning Reiki attunement today. Lightning Reiki is for use for your clients who have severe blockages that come from trauma from the past, which hides in various locations in the body. Lightning Reiki will, in a very short period of time, seek out and destroy all the hidden festering wounds that are associated with past drama or trauma, which is preventing your client from being all they could be. Now, this would take months or years of traditional therapy, and the therapeutic environment can be traumatizing in itself. But you can receive your virtual attunement for the Lightning Reiki plugin. You must be a Reiki master to receive the Lightning Reiki plugin to enhance your Reiki practice, enabling you to do deep emotional work in minutes without unearthing buried trauma. Now, most people can go on through their lives and live a completely normal life. It looks normal to everyone else, but if they're harboring hidden trauma from the past, just ignoring it and pretending like nothing ever happened is a pretty good method of getting by. No one need ever be the wiser. You're moving on, and things are looking good enough that no one would even know that you had all this trauma in your past. Now, the longer you ignore it, the memory of it kind of fades away into nothing. Sounds like a great plan, right? Wrong. Repressed trauma, while it can be hidden from the conscious mind, hides away in the body, where it festers and spreads deadly poisons throughout the body, which cause biological deterioration, disease, and can lead to an early grave. Unresolved traumatic wounds do not go away on their own. If the patient can survive it, years of therapy, by following all the traumatic links, can finally get to the root cause of the trauma and be dealt with. And this is not an easy process. Each successfully linked incident can be painful to remember and process, which comes with its own new trauma, which can only be wiped away after the entire chain of traumatic wounds have been healed. And that's what's great about Lightning Reiki. In one fell swoop, in a single energetic burst, Reiki energy finds and follows every link of the chain down to the primary traumatic incident that was the first wound or link. Here's how the Lightning Reiki plugin works for Reiki masters who have been attuned for Lightning Reiki. First, you'll have a conversation with your client so that you have an awareness that he or she is suffering from being blocked by past trauma or adverse childhood experiences, which have a cumulative effect on your client's life. You put your hands in the current position on the top of your client's head with your index fingers pointed towards the client's nose, like this. Orient yourself energetically as you would when you prepare to administer Reiki to your client. But for Lightning Reiki, we're going to send one single burst of energy through the palms of your hands through your client's crown chakra. This burst of energy shoots down through your client's body to all the parts seeking out the stored negative energy and trauma from past events, administering healing God Source energy to each otherwise hidden wound, cauterizing off the wound and dissolving it from the patient's body instantly. No drama or trauma associated with the treatment, and you, the practitioner, do not even know of any of the potentially horrific details. An entire lifetime of traumatic wounds vaporized, just like that. Now, Lightning Reiki treatments are so effective and rapid that no one would pay you for a 1-minute session. So it's advised that you interact with your client as you normally would and complete a regular Reiki session prior to administering Lightning Reiki. Your client need not know the bulk of the work has been done in that final jolt of your treatment regimen. Before administering your Lightning Reiki, establish what type of trauma your client is being blocked by. Like I said, you don't have to be concerned with the details, just know what it appears to be or feels like to your client. For instance, your client may feel like it's work-related, in that everything they try to do to succeed seems to fail. And this is a perfect starting point. Let source energy do all the heavy lifting of following the chain of associated traumatic events, locating where these poisonous wounds are, where they're hiding, seeking and destroying the source of the chain, and setting your client free. This works for any chain of negative energetic wounds that can be found hiding deep within your client's body. It works for being disease-prone, blocked romance, stifled personal growth, limited financial resources, being your own worst enemy, abusive relationships, self-destructive behavior, depression, even suicidal ideation. Let Lightning Reiki do the work. All you have to do is allow yourself to be the vessel, channeling the God Source energy in this manner. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty and get your Lightning Reiki attunement done right now. Note that this attunement is only available as an add-on to your Reiki Master status. You must have already completed Reiki 1, 2, and 3 for Lightning Reiki activation. If you are a Reiki Master and you want to receive your Lightning Reiki attunement right now, first, put your hands in the Lightning Reiki hand position. This is the hand position that you use on the top of your client's head at the crown chakra. For you to receive the attunement, you must place your hands in this position in the middle of your chest, like this. Now close your eyes and take a deep cleansing breath. 2 more breaths now. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now repeat after me. I hereby avail myself to the power of the universe and God Source energy to receive the Lightning Reiki attunement. I pledge to avail myself to all those who are wounded and in need of emotional healing in this troubled world. Now don't repeat after me, but I want you, while your hands are still in this position on your chest, to bring your hands together, as in the position of praying hands. And I want you to repeat after me. As I am blessed and empowered to funnel this sacred energy, so shall I bless others. Answering this call, for I am merely a humble servant. Amen. Okay, congratulations. You are now attuned for Lightning Reiki. And when we come back, we will talk about how you can use Lightning Reiki to expand your practice to emotional healing. Next up is one of the most amazing leaders in alternative living, a true spiritual explorer and energy alchemist who is offering up some of his best ideas about how you can level up your Reiki practice by adding energy work for victims of toxic people. Infinite Life Advisor Daniel Mark Schwartz shares with you his secrets about healing energy for victims of narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. So without further ado, one of the smartest guys I know, Daniel Mark Schwartz.
Hi, I'm Daniel Mark Schwartz, founder and author of OvercomingToxicPeople.com, certified Olympic life coach, Infinite Life Advisor, and I'm here today to show you all how you can use Reiki to heal and empower victims of narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, or what I would call a toxic person. What is a toxic person? A toxic person is any one of the people with the said diseases, psychopath, narcissist, sociopath, sometimes called narcissistic personality disorder, or antisocial personality disorder. And there are many other categories bundled into this, but essentially it's people who seek to warp the worldview of their victims to become energy vampires, essentially, is another way of saying it, on these people, and to keep them deeper and deeper into their embrace and control through psychological and energetic manipulation. So why am I saying that Reiki masters can expand their practice, and why should they expand their practice to serve victims of toxic people? I have three reasons. The number one is that this area is completely underserved by energy workers. There's a lot of potential here to find new clients and to serve people in real need, which is going almost completely unnoticed by the larger Reiki community. Second is that victims of this type of abuse particularly benefit from psychic and energetic protection. Right? If they're being attacked by a psychic vampire, they need psychic and energetic healing to protect them from it. And I think Reiki practitioners and the related skill sets that many practitioners have are particularly well suited for dealing with this kind of abuse, where traditional therapy and coaching isn't necessarily. Third and last is that seeing a healer, a Reiki healer who can heal multiple different physical afflictions, is a good pretense to get the victim out of the control of their abuser. Right? If they were saying they were going to a therapist or a coach or something where it would be obvious that they're trying to build their own self-esteem and get out of that abusive situation, it would be much more difficult for them because they would have to think of some reason why they're doing it. They couldn't just say to their abuser, I'm going to try to get out of your abusive relationship. But if they can say, I'm going to an energy healer, I'm going to get a massage, that kind of stuff, and it's totally acceptable, makes it much easier for them to get the help that they need. So what are we going to be dealing with as far as victims? What is unique about their situation? Again, I have three main areas that victims need help. Primarily is confusion. The biggest place that they need help is clearing up their mind. Narcissists, sociopath, psychopath, they all have a way of spinning stories, telling tales, and getting their victims warped up into their own off view of reality. Right? They tell lies. They constantly are gaslighting, and so victims of toxic people first need to gain clarity, get rid of that mental fog, and that's something that Reiki can really help with. Number two is they become dependent or helpless. They feel like they need the support of their abuser in order to survive, right? Any of their self-actualization has been sapped out of them. And so the second thing that we're going to provide for these victims is the courageousness to actually get out of the situation. And third is stifled expression. They can't say what they feel. They're constantly walking on eggshells. So lastly, we would be giving them the courage to speak out and to act out in the way that they actually feel internally and not the way that they've been manipulated to feel by the abusers. So when dealing with a victim of a narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath, I put them through a 4-stage process of recovery. First stage, Do whatever you can to protect them from the narcissistic abuse or the sociopathic abuse that they would be experiencing. This could be energetic blocks, this could be energy healing in specific chakras. Whatever you know how to do, put up any kind of shield you can to prevent further damage as much as possible. Second is to work with the victim to expand what is actually true in their life and to notice what the lies are. All right, this is the clearing up the confusion, and it's absolutely essential because they will not be able to make a life change without realizing what is true and what isn't. And this can be a very long, step 2 can be the longest of the entire process. Step 3, develop antidotes in the person where they can counter narcissistic, sociopathic, or psychopathic abuse as it happens. Right? This is when they become able to actually get themselves out of that situation. And the fourth and last is to create a new agreement. So this gives the victim the ability to set boundaries, to actually define a new relationship with their abuser, which may be no relationship at all, or in the case of family members or certain relationships where they just can't leave, defining a new set of boundaries. And that's complete healing at that point. So lastly, I want to go through 5 energetic centers that you can use as an energy healer to actually root in and put the victim through these stages of recovery. The first is the root energy center, right? So, or the root chakra. In a victim of a toxic person, there's 3 things that you're going to look for and try to get out of that get out of that energy center. One is insecurity. They're going to feel like they don't know what's going on. They're going to feel like they, like the world is falling down around them. So that is where you would go to fix that. They're constantly in fight and flight, and they're constantly walking on eggshells. So by giving them security in the root energy center is the very first place that you want to start. Second, moving up, is the sacral energy center. Many forms of narcissistic manipulation or psychopathic involve sexual abuse, and victims develop intimacy issues, and then there's creativity is stifled. So in this energy center is where you'd want to go to correct that. Now, third up from the bottom, the so-called solar plexus center, not necessarily in the solar plexus, but that's what it's generally called. This is where the victim will be lacking and can be fortified with additional confidence, additional levels of personal power, and increase their assertiveness back to normal levels. Fourth up, the heart energy center. In this center, you're going to see some interesting conflicting emotions. One is narcissists and psychopaths tend to imbue their victims with a sense of guilt, like it's the victim's fault that they're being abused. So this guilt will need to be transmuted into compassion for their abuser, right? Because compassion is the only way that we can overcome abuse. But it's still detached, right? So they're not at fault for this. Nobody's at fault for this. They can love their way through it, but they can still make the break. Next is forgiveness versus dependence, right? They need to actually forgive their abusers as opposed to being controlled by the abuse. Many victims get, what would you call it? They get almost drawn in, like they get addicted to the abuse. And that is one of the major forms of dependence that you see in victims of these toxic people. So by letting them detach themselves from the abuse, by forgiving their abuser, then you've elevated your client to a level where they're actually able to become independent beings and separate themselves from the abuse that they've experienced. Lastly is self-love. A lot of victims of toxic people don't feel like they're good enough. Right? That's a feeling that most of these toxic people have about themselves, and it's been imbued in these victims. So giving them self-love is a major step in the right direction. Lastly, the throat energy center. This is where ideas are formed. We're talking about clearing up the fog and taking proper action. Now, I don't recommend that you coach your clients to actually confront or speak out directly against their abusers. That is usually not a recipe for proper for healing. It's more of a recipe for conflict. Instead, what they need to do is take proper action and set up proper boundaries. And this is something that they would want to see a coach about. Somebody like me who deals specifically with these situations when they have the energy level high enough that they can actually take clear and decisive action. So that's what I have. Stay tuned for the later parts of this talk because it's going to get really interesting in how you can use these skills to expand your practice and build up your abundance. So this has been Daniel. Thanks for watching. Up next is Rosa M. Luna, author of Traumatized.com. She's a multi-generational Curandera native healer and will be sharing several methods that she learned from her ancestors in the next presentation.
Hello, my name is Rosa M. Luna, and I'm a curandera healer. And I assist people with many different kinds of healings. But today, I'm going to talk about something that maybe you haven't heard of. Have you heard about healing with an egg? It might sound silly, but have you heard of the evil eye? If some of your friends are Mexican, then chances are you have heard of it. But today, I would like to activate you for Curando con un Huevo, healing with the egg. You can add this to your Reiki practice. My mother was a curandera healer, and I learned from her. And now I've learned to activate people for the healings. And I learned this from my mother, who in our family has had generations and generations of healers throughout our families. When we moved to the United States, the children of my mother did not experience the one-on-one learning experience of the curanderos' original healings as I did. I, however, worked with my mother and assisted her in her healings. She died real young in a car accident. I have taught many of my family who would like to continue our family tradition as healers, and other friends who wanted to become healers as well. I also learned to add to my bag of tools for healing Reiki. It added one more powerful energy in, which was like adding another spice to an already good meal. I remember my mom always had visitors around the house. Our living room was full of people waiting to take a turn to talk to her. She would accept donations, and if people could not pay, she'd accept food, vegetables, fruit, flowers, homemade gifts, sweet bread, freshly made tortillas. And some of her girlfriends, what we called comadres, would come and cook for us or clean the house in exchange for a healing. I myself do that now as well. I have a healing office, and people come to get a healing. I charge a flat rate. My house is especially full during the harvest times. I love getting the fresh fruit. Fresh fruits of the season. Peaches this big. Pears, tomatoes, enough to can. Fresh picked Bing cherries, my favorite. I really enjoy the flowers too they give them to me as a gift. And I enjoy putting them in the healing room. I love the fragrance. So using an egg is a very old Mexican superstition, curse, or a legend originating in ancient times and from many countries. It's believed that the bad intentioned person uses its glare, and when one is unaware, the evil eye is a venomous impact from a bad intentioned person whose emotions and jealousy and envy from those around us. Some absorbent believers avoid talking about their valuable items they own for fear that they could be stolen or lost. Or they talk about how they got their good luck, and they don't want anybody else to hear because of the envy. So they fear that their children could be cursed. And if you have the evil eye, how will you know? Well, that's confirmed if an evil eye has been cast. So what you do is you take a drop of olive oil in a glass of water. Generally, the water has been blessed by the healer, of course. Under normal conditions, the olive oil will float, but if the drop sinks, then the evil eye has been cast. Sometimes you may get severe headaches. The evil eye could make your head very, very painful. You will feel like throwing up. The light will hurt your eyes. If you're a Reiki master who would like to learn this type of healing, I would love to activate you with this ability to heal using the egg, in which, believe this or not, it can heal. You will be able to heal anyone with just your loving will. and love for others. So let's start with the activation meditation. Ready? Close your eyes. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in and breathe out, like you're blowing out candles from your birthday cake. Good job. Let's try it again. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, on this last breath, as you breathe in and take another deep breath in, hold your breath to the count of 6 in your mind. Okay, breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And blow out. And blow out those birthday candles. Okay, let's start the activation meditation now. Keep your eyes closed. Ready? Let's go. I would like to remind you that you're not doing this alone. Let's activate you and let's invite your angels, your spirit guides, your Reiki guides, who joined you when you were attuned as a Reiki practitioner. I now would like to remind you that you are a constant gatherer of experiences and knowledge, fulfillment of joy that will be awoken within you. You will be awakened with the potential of awareness and powerfulness, for you are the only one who holds the key to achievement. Okay, now you're ready to heal with an egg. Take another deep breath and count to 6 in your mind and blow those candles. So are you ready to do this? Okay, first of all, gather an egg that is in your refrigerator. Of course, that's where you normally keep it, right? So if you're a Reiki master, you place the Reiki symbols on the egg and request the egg to remove the pain, the negative energies, negative entities, and say thank you to the egg for giving us their healing and their life. Using the patient's name, and you thank them for healing. So have the client take 3 deep breaths, and on the last breath, hold for a count of 6 in their mind, and let the breath out, blowing out the birthday cake candles. Have the person close their eyes and relax their breathing. Move the egg clockwise motion around the head. Make sure you touch the egg inside the ears, around the lips, over the eyes, back of the scalp, and down the spine. If it's a headache, stay on the area of pain for a good 3 minutes or more. If the headache has not gotten better, or if pain has not lessened, stay longer until the headache pain has lessened or it's gone. Now roll the egg across the chest, the top of the chest, and then move it in a swirling motion up and down the arms. Have client hold the egg on each of their hands for as long as the healer feels it should be held. Now rub the egg on the 3rd eye, chakra, throat chakra, heart chakra, solar plex chakra, and the 2nd chakra. For the next step, have the client place and hold the egg. If your healer is a reader, read the egg. After the reading, sprinkle salt over the glass and have the healer visualize the white light and put the whole loving, wonderful energy giving everywhere. Afterwards, take the egg and throw it in the toilet and flush it. Or, if earth is available, dig a hole in the ground and give the egg back to the earth, burying it, and as you do, thank it. And thank Source as well, our higher self, God, Goddess, as we know them, our angels, our spirit guides, our Reiki guides, for their help. Congratulations, you're now activated curando con un huevo, healing with the egg. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosa M. Luna. Up next is our Source Energy therapist, who has an impressive background of life coaching and professional child life enrichment. She serves the local and greater community by bringing her special brand of Reiki healing and life enhancement. She's an instructor and founding member of St. Paul's Free University. Today, she shares with you, our Reiki Master guests, Source Energy, Reiki, and how it can benefit your clients that are grieving. Wendy Lynn Johnson.
Hi everyone, I am Wendy Lynn Johnson with Source Energy Therapy and Wendy Johnson's Life Coaching. Today I am here to talk to you about Source Energy, Reiki, and how it can benefit your clients that are grieving. Let us look first at grief. What does grief look like? Does one merely grieve when they lose a loved one to death? Many common causes of grief are other things besides death. Conflicting feelings can cause grief. These conflicting feelings can be caused by changes in life's patterns or the end of something that you've done for a long time. Some examples of that would be divorce, dissolution of marriage, can cause a grieving process. Retirement, someone that's had a job for 30 plus years and reported to the same place, and then all of a sudden they don't report there anymore and they're not around the same people, and that can cause the feeling of loss, which is what you grieve. Graduating college or high school can be a sense of loss. You no longer do the same things every day that you did for years and years and years, and see the same people, be around all those people, so that can cause grief or loss as well. A romantic breakup. This is the termination of a romantic relationship other than death. That can cause grief as well. Moving to another city or state, having to start all over again. That can cause huge changes in one's life that can bring grief. Disfellowshipping or banishment, the punishment of being sent away, the action of getting rid of something unwanted is what that is, and that also can cause grief. Losing a job, being fired, laid off, loss of your permanent income to sustain your life as you know it. That can also cause grief. Bankruptcy, repossession of your car or your home, a court proceeding where there's a dissolution of marriage, or a family law court where you're having to fight for your children and come up with a parenting plan. All those kinds of things are cause for grief. And when someone is in a state of grieving, the heart chakra is the one that is the most impacted. It can affect all their chakras. They may become imbalanced. Grief is an energy depleting emotion. This is important to remember because our bodies need energy to be and stay physically, emotionally, and mentally, as well as spiritually healthy. We need to derive this energy from different sources, such as the energy from the foods that we consume daily, energy from keeping our bodies moving, such as exercise, and that's a big important part. We also derive energy from being outdoors in nature. When we go outside barefooted, we can bring up source energy through our feet, up into our legs and into our energy centers, our chakras, raising our vibrations and replenishing them all. When one is grieving, if they do not make a conscious effort to replace the energy that grieving uses, one is highly likely to start to feel the effects from it in their bodies. So what this would look like is it might slow you down. You might start to feel sluggish, possibly even causing you to become ill or sick. One's body, mind, and soul can only undergo this for so long before they feel the effects and become ill. So you need to take the time for yourself and make sure that you are replenishing your energy centers. Or you're going to find yourself in physical pain or weakness in the body or ill in some way. There are also many emotional effects, such as anxiety, panic attacks, that can occur if one's energy centers or chakras are depleted or are not working properly. It is common for one to become ill while grieving. One can feel as if their mind is in a complete fog. You ever had that foggy feeling? Well, if we're not taking care of ourselves while we're grieving, that can happen to us. One's heart can feel as if it is completely broken, and they feel completely disconnected from their bodies. Spiritually speaking, a griever may become disconnected from one's higher self. As a result, maintaining spiritual health and well-being becomes very difficult. This is where Reiki can benefit a griever. One can receive Reiki from a Reiki practitioner or give oneself Reiki if you are Reiki 1 attuned or higher. Being the energy, the Reiki energy comes from source, it will not further deplete your energy centers or the flow of energy, Reiki energy, to yourself. The symptoms of grief and the benefits of Reiki are almost a match, each one for one. Reiki replaces and balances and strengthens the flow of energy in one's body. This will ease anxiety, pain, and improve one's sleep. Reiki enhances the body's ability to heal itself by activating the natural healing process. Reiki energy knows exactly where it is most needed to heal and balance one's body physically, emotionally, as well as spiritually. That does not mean your client's symptoms will magically disappear. However, it will become easier for your client to deal with grief's ups and downs. The calm that Reiki brings with it gives the griever the courage and stamina to deal with the grieving process. It is also an opportunity for the griever to relax and just let the emotions flow without judgment during a Reiki session. So often society has made it feel like we need to be so strong and to hold in our emotions, and it is quite to the contrary. That will create more sickness within our own bodies. So you may want to be sure that your client feels no judgment and is aware of the extreme emotions that may flow during a Reiki session, especially if they have just lost a loved one. Giving them permission to allow the sadness to escape. Taking the time to be sad is ultimately what gets us through the grief process. When we cry, it is a cleansing process. It washes out all those negative energies. It washes, cleans out our system, our energy centers. Washes out those negative feelings, allowing a space for a happy memory to shine through, or just simply allows room for positive energy that will help your client cope with the loss. Also, as a practitioner, you may want to be aware that the loved one who has recently passed may bring in messages during a Reiki session. If you are dealing with someone that's grieving from death, I have personally experienced this. My first experience with this, I was not quite prepared for. Fortunately, I was aware of its possibilities and had known the deceased, and I chose to invite him in with my mind's eye and ask if he would like me to deliver a message. It was really a phenomenal experience for both of us. In my situation, that being me and my client, in my situation, I chose to tell my client because she was a dear friend of mine. However, you might want to know how the client You might not know how the client is going to respond or will react. So you will want to use your discretion and your intuition on this very delicate matter in choosing whether to let them know about the experience or how the experience went. If you or someone you know are interested in learning more about Reiki, please find me at sourceenergytherapy.com or email me at wendyjohnsonslifecoaching@outlook.com. I hope you have a fabulous day.
Up next is Juanita Holliday. She is an expert in natural healing alternatives, founder of naturalalternativespecialist.com, and will be sharing with you how you can add natural healing remedies to your practice.
Hi, thank you for joining me today. The first tip I want to give you to expand your Reiki practice today is to add natural alternatives to your practice. We all know that Reiki energy healing has everything you need to heal the body from whatever is making you suffer from disease or treating anyone who is sick or tired. The best Reiki masters are operating more of a full-service Reiki practice, which helps raise the client's quality of life by adding natural alternatives. What's great about this is that it increases your average dollar value per visit of almost every client you will ever have. You can catch many Reiki masters in the act of increasing their earnings per visit by offering client opportunity to add some healthy alternative products to their lives, something to take home with them. It can be smart too. Find something that is multi-level, which means that every time you sell a product, you earn a referral fee, and so does the person who signed you up as a distributor. What is interesting about this multi-level product interrogation is that your client may be interested in telling his or her friends about this product, so he or she signs up under you, and you earn a fee every time this client or any of his or her friends buy something. This is a good way to build an alternative stream of income, which might take on a life of its own and bring you free money every month. You can add spirituality significant and Reiki enhancement talisman, which will help extend the healing residue of your Reiki treatment well beyond the 3 days, which is normal. You can charge anything Reiki source energy by activating it. As a Reiki master, you can Reiki energize any object with the Reiki symbols, which transform any normal item into a healing talisman or magical amulet. For instance, you can offer an activated crystal necklace. Let's take a look at how this works. First, you need some raw material like crystal necklaces. Do not make this more complicated than it needs to be. I just looked this up, and you can get 5 necklaces for $17.99 from Amazon with free shipping for Prime members. That's less than $4 a piece. Here is where the magic happens. Once you have them in hand, you activate them by putting the Reiki symbols on them. Now they are $25 magical talismans that your clients would be glad to buy as an energy healing enhancement and good luck charm. Just doing that one thing upped your receipt for that visit by $25. And you don't have to have anything as fancy as a crystal necklace. Reiki masters can energize and transform ordinary rocks into powerful energy healing stones, which are worth far more than their raw material cost. There are many items and products that you can add to your Reiki practices. The more research you put into getting acquainted with the products you decide to add to your practice, the more people are willing to pay. For instance, you can show your client the 5 crystal necklaces and say, just pick the one that you are drawn to and charge $20 for the activated necklace. Or you can explain that the benefits of amethyst and tell your client about how this activated crystal is especially matched and energized and Reiki activated for his or her problems. Now you can charge $40 to $50 for the same necklace. In this way, you can offer nearly any product you are willing to study about, which makes you an expert in that area. You can add stones and crystals, magnetic jewelry, alternative healing products of any size, type, or price to match your clients, who can also add herbal supplements to your Reiki practice. This my favorite idea for you, and I love learning about various plants and minerals and how they can better help my clients. You can do that too if you're willing to put in the time and effort to learn about them and how they can help your clients. Again, do not make this more difficult than it is. You can just learn about what you want, like all the benefits of fenugreek, such as help in lowering blood sugar levels for enhanced healing of diabetes. Along with your Reiki energy healing, it helps with menstrual cramps and sexual problems that prevent satisfaction during sexual activity. Fenugreek is often prescribed for weight loss, as it is a natural appetite suppressant and reduces fat mass while increasing stomach and gut health. And fenugreek is probably best known for being a natural breast enhancement. No need for breast surgery here. Just natural breast enlargement without implants or surgery, and no scars. This is one herbal supplement that very few people know about. You could provide a private label, 2 ounces worth for $20, to your clients that are Reiki energy activated, of course. Let's take a look at Amazon again. Okay. 2 pounds of fenugreek for $11.45 with free shipping if you have Prime. That's 10 ounces packages. And if you want, you can package them in a neat brown 2-ounce jar like these. You are well under $3 for each. The fenugreek and the bottles that you are selling for $20 each. Hello! That's just one item, and there are thousands of plants and minerals out there you can mix and match and easily come up with your own concoctions. And we haven't even talked about the possibilities of adding essential oils, candles, textures, potions, and lotions. Increase your average revenue per visit exponentially.
Thank you, Juanita Holiday. As we continue to level up your skills as an energy worker, our next speaker has spent years in transformational work. As retired from her work in contemplative psychotherapy and development psychology, continues to work and travel around the world, serving individuals, and is actively involved in life coaching and consulting around the globe. Founder of the Empatharian Movement for Peace, Lolo Lesser is here to share with us about grounding your practice with movement meditation. Here is Lolo Lesser.
Hello, I'm Lolo Lesser with Empatharian Movement for Peace, and I am introducing a topic today, grounding your practice with movement meditation. So I'd like to introduce you to Empatharian Movement for Peace, really. But we all know that meditation is a really good grounding technique for helping you as a Reiki practitioner to keep your energy clear and present. Now, in this pandemic, your self-care is so important. And you've got to really more stress on you, your family, more stress on clients and the community, more stress in our world right now. Perhaps it's easy to use Reiki on yourself for a quick release and energy boost. That seems like a really good idea. But I'd like to suggest something different. Empatharian for Movement for Peace. Empatharian Movement for Peace practice. So it's an empatharian movement that we are moving. Now, you probably don't know what that is, do you? It's new, and yet we've been using all the mechanisms of empatharian separately for centuries. though few have put it all together in an easily accessible form for normal Americans. So, Empatharian is a movement practice that you can do in less than 15 minutes, or half that if you need to. It's a movement meditation with the benefits of meditation, helping clarity, mindfulness, and presence without needing to sit and be silent, which is very difficult for people with trauma in their history or any level of attention deficit disorder. Well, let's be real. Sitting still for 20 minutes is really hard for everyone. So with Empatharian, you're doing slow, sustained movement, easy positions for most people, but stretching important muscle and spinal areas gently and safely, and doing the important breathing and posture practice, that really optimizes your wellness. So, of course, it's good if you have body issues to consult with your health practitioner before doing Empatharian and to follow all their recommendations with your practicing. If you have injuries or special needs, doing Empatharian can actually raise the healing time so that your healing energy is more available. It will assist your doctors and physical therapists' program of therapy for you. So if you have balance issues or dementia issues, well, not yet, I hope, but these are, if they're in your heritage, in your heredity, in your ancestors, it's something to think about, particularly that Empatharian can be very helpful. The kind of movement meditation has been shown in clinical research to help significantly reducing the risk of getting dementia and increasing balance, so that actually people have, the research shows a 30% increase, but of course that's using Tai Chi methods, which are very similar to Empatharian, but Empatharian's a little easier, which is awfully nice. So, of course, it's good if you have, let's see, what else was I going to say? If always use gentle awareness. That was what I was going to say. Always use gentle awareness of your body and its pain thresholds, and being responsible with taking care of yourself when doing Empatharian. We always put that disclaimer in there. Doing the Empatharian practice can help with pain, promoting the body's production of serotonin, which is a natural painkiller that our body produces. And some of you may be familiar with the martial arts that are, well, as I said, Tai Chi, Aikido. These are also slow meditative movements that have been researched to have the excellent benefits for body, mind, and spirit. So the nice thing about Empatharian is that it's very conducive. If you already do martial arts, you'll really find Empatharian nice and easy to do. It's different. It's quite different. It has an additional dimension that I'd like to explain to you that makes it really good for these days. So the difference, by the way, is that Empatharian practice to start has 12 to 14 movements, less than the 36 position amalgamations of Aikido or Tai Chi, for instance. So it's easier to learn, faster to become accomplished, faster to become a trainer and a facilitator, as we call them, facilitators. And yet the movements are very powerful. They stay in your consciousness and penetrate to deep levels for activating organs and energy centers. The movements are actually meaning words. So it's a sentence about peace building. So Empatharian is a gestural sign language where each movement that we do represents what we might intuitively guess that it does. So the idea is that we're creating a universal language in nonverbal whole body gestures. And that can be danced or just moved slowly and meditatively, which is what we do in the beginning practices for excellent benefit. It can also be back and forth conversation and eventually a communication without words that is specific and clear. When you complete the primary practice, which we call this first 12 to 14 movements, the empath stretch, to an accomplished level, you may begin with further words and positions, communications that are your individual stories and creations. And Empatharian is actually a peace arts training, different from a martial arts training. It's about using and amplifying your energy for peace building and generating spiritual energy for good. So it's not about thinking of an opponent or fighting. You can mourn that if you want. But fighting and coercion usually end up producing bad feelings and a winner-loser dynamic. And people who are losers will proceed past the coercion whenever they want to hide out and persist in doing what they want. So that's not really, like today's guerrilla warfare has made wars impossible to win. Fighting is really not the way to win anymore. New world. Interesting to think of, isn't it? So in order to win, we need some other skills, and Empatharian is here to answer what we're doing now. So I guess what I'd like to show you is what it is. Making a stand for peace building. Everybody wins. Inspired, respectful energy, seeking inner joy, wisdom, and heart connection. Those are the words of the empath stretch, the movement meditation that can infuse grounding in your Reiki practice, in your personal relationships, and into your body as well, to embody your inherent purpose and your intentions in a way that's really powerful. And I'd really like to share it with you. So thank you.
Now that you've added the Lightning Reiki plugin to your Reiki practice, you can reach out to a broader community of people who need you now more than ever. With the current state of affairs in our country and throughout the world, our people have never been so emotionally wounded. If you don't believe me, just look around. And what do you see? You see adults living small because they've been restrained by adverse childhood experiences or hidden sexual trauma, which are self-imposed prisons holding the victims captive, keeping them from all the good things this life has to offer. You see it all around you. People are suffering, and you can see the emptiness in their eyes as they do the best they can to make their way through this life. You can feel the sadness and depressed nature of these poor souls. As Reiki masters, we serve mostly people with physical maladies, and this type of energy healing has proven to be so effective that hospitals are adding Reiki practitioners to their staff to serve those in need. Why? Because patients who receive Reiki get better faster and live longer than patients who do not receive Reiki. Now, I was well aware of this when I first learned laying on of hands from the nuns up at Grays Harbor Hospital back in the day. Since then, I graduated to become a Reiki master and beyond. Yet, with all the physiological problems that plague our children, peers, and seniors, psychological problems are far more pervasive and may be actually the source of biological complications. You see people suffering every day from inconsolable grief, sorrow, loneliness, shame, and unworthiness, just to name a few. By adding lightning Reiki to your practice, you're expanding your potential market base by more than double, just like that. And just like hospitals are embracing Reiki practices, so will your psychiatric community that serves those with challenges around the areas of mental illness and their emotional challenges. You are their partner in the negative emotional healing process. Then there is the crossover between psychological and biological, where emotional pain actually is the root cause of physiological disease. It sounds perfectly logical to a Reiki master, but your doctor would have thought you were crazy 20 years ago if you suggested that mere thoughts, feelings, and/or behaviors could be the cause of debilitating or life-threatening disease. Though today, this is commonly held and verifiable data. Lightning Reiki is so effective in treating the emotional causes of disease and emotional pain such as sadness, anxiety, unexpressed anger, shame, and guilt, which left unhealed will cause disease such as obesity, depression, heart disease, diabetes, gastrointestinal problems, Alzheimer's disease, and asthma, among other things. These people are calling out for help in a world that has left them feeling helpless and hopeless, which is a direct path to suicidal tendencies. And there you are with Lightning Reiki, ready and willing to answer the call, right? After your initial consultation with your client, you've determined that he or she is in need of emotional healing. So as you do your due diligence in discovering the theme of the chain of negative energy, which is keeping them imprisoned and in an unhealthy and possibly even lethal path to self-destruction, remember that you do not have to know the details. You don't have to know the intricacies to use Lightning Reiki. In your discovery process, you only need to know generalities to determine what kind of trauma theme you are going to target with your Lightning Reiki. Is it poor self-esteem? Was your client a victim of child abuse? Were his or her parents abusive or neglectful? Was he a victim of sexual abuse? Does your client feel like a victim of betrayal by someone he or she trusted or admired, but he or she was taken advantage of? Just generalities are all that is necessary. Let your Lightning Reiki do the rest. Now, I always do a regular Reiki session first because there's no harm in doing so. Plus, I believe it helps to keep the heart and the spirit more pliable and open to the Lightning Reiki bolt of energy that is coming up. Following this session, while the client's in a relaxed state, whether they are on the Reiki table, seated, or reclining, I make my way to the head of the client. I ask them if they are ready for their Lightning Reiki treatment for their type of emotional pain. With their permission, I tell them that this treatment will follow the chain of all the emotional wounds that are hidden links of the chain hiding in his or her body. But I will need one more thing before I begin. I ask the client for a random number between 1 and 100 to represent this chain of emotional pain. After I've received a number from the client, I place my hands in the Lightning Reiki position on the top of his or her head at the crown chakra. And using my imagination, I see the golden bright light from source above streaming down through me and into the earth, completely surging through every cell of my body for a moment, while I'm preparing to release a burst of energy through the palms of my hands. In this state, I tell the client we are going to release all the negative energy associated with this, insert the number the client gave you a moment ago. Throughout his or her life, every poisonous link in the chain will be cauterized and vaporized, while I assume that he or she will retain all the wisdom from the events and will be able to process them without any pain if necessary at any time in the future. I again ask them if they are ready. Then I release the burst with a slight sudden pressure and I utter ugh, like ugh. Lightning Reiki has already done the work. And while my hands are still in position on the client's head, I say, we release all the number and the associated traumas, and pain associated with the number through this life, time, and space. We also release any need for forgiveness, indebtedness, guilt, sin, remorse, blame, and shame through this number. I then put in a positive stream of God source energy for health, wealth, happiness, love, creativity, and wild abundance. After I remove my hands, I congratulate them because this moment memorializes their past life, as from this point forward, he or she is in the driver's seat. That's how I do it. And now you can do likewise. When I come back, we will talk about how Lightning Reiki can increase your income earning potential as you continue to do this great work in the world. Next up, we have Daniel Mark Schwartz. Daniel?
Welcome back, everybody. Daniel here with Overcoming Toxic People, and I'm going to talk to you about how to find and attract victims of toxic people, narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, to your Reiki practice. So I've got you up at the whiteboard because I want to brainstorm a little bit of where we can find these people, how we can find them, and what we can do to keep them. So first of all, where? Where are these people located? Well, they're located anywhere, everywhere. There's victims of toxic people in every walk of life. But there are a few places where it's more convenient to find and isolate them and bring them into your practice. One is Facebook. Okay, there are hundreds of Facebook groups specifically tailored to victims of various types of narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths. Just do a quick search in the Facebook search box and you'll find them almost immediately. Facebook. Second, narcissistic abuse recovery boards, right? So message boards. If you're not a person who uses a lot of the old-fashioned internet messaging before social media, there existed a thing called a message board, which is a forum, a place you can post and talk to people in a little more decentralized manner. And there are still many of these that are very active, hundreds of thousands of people on it. Look for Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Board, and you will find tons of boards with active posters that you can communicate with and potentially get on board with your practice. Another thing is local groups, so places like Meetup. Right? Any local Craigslist, anywhere that advertises local events, there's going to be events for victims of various types of abuse. Narcissistic abuse, abusive husbands, abusive wives, abusive parents. Look for abuse and make your way into these groups. Approach it as somebody who's looking to help or looking to learn about what they went through, and you have an in right there. All right, and the last one I'm going to mention is YouTube. Right now on YouTube, it's possible with relatively little inputs to build a channel big enough to support a practice of Reiki just off narcissistic and psychopath and sociopath abuse recovery. So how do we get people from here interested in what we do? So how? First of all, focus on supporting them where they are. So meet them. We don't want to try to move victims more quickly than they're comfortable with. We have to get them at the state of mind that they find themselves. We have to address the issues that they think are issues, right? We can't go from a higher energetic state and look down and expect to get resonance with them. So we need to learn the way that they speak. We need to learn their language. For instance, they won't necessarily say narcissist. They'll say narc. They'll say narcissistic supply. They'll say tons of things. But you have to learn this language and speak to them in the language that they are using themselves. So get in on these groups, see what they're saying, listen, and then you'll be able to communicate effectively. Lastly, target key life events. So when you're advertising your services, when you're looking for people, you want to see people in these 4 key life events. One is breakups. 2, when they're leaving. So they're leaving an abuser. Breakups are usually instigated by the person, they're instigated by the abuser with the victim not wanting to leave. This one is where the victim is leaving the abuser intentionally or trying to. This third, a narcissist or a toxic person comes back and is reformed, right? So they come back, they say, I'm better, and the victim is doing their darndest to stay recovered, to stay out of that situation, because it's almost always a trap. Lastly, a situation where they're seeking help because they are not sure if they are abused. Many victims are confused. They don't know what's right or wrong, and they are out there looking for help, wondering if they're the bad guy, right? So these 4 events are types of people that you can look for in vulnerable states that need help and are amenable to the type of services that you might be able to provide. Okay, so now we've found the people, and now we know how to communicate them, can communicate with them, get them interested in our services. So how do we keep them? Four points here. 1, teach them how to silence their abuser's objections. Once the abuser notices that things are getting better, that the abused individual, that you're the victim, that you're counseling or that you're doing energy work on is improving, they're going to want to know why, and they're going to want to put a stop to it, because that means that that victim is on their way out, right? So the first thing you need to do when you're bringing clients in is to give them a plausible story, give them some reason, legit, something you're doing for them too, a reason for them to come to you that it does not raise the alarm of the person abusing them. So teach them how to silence their abuser's objections. I'm just going to write, good story. Give them a good story and practice it with them so they know what to say when they're approached by their abuser. 2, make sure they feel better when you're done. So every time you meet with this person, they should feel like they're in a better spot. That keeps them coming back, that keeps them interested and motivated. You can't have a deep and depressing process that you're working through and end with that in a given session. So make sure they feel good. Right? These victims feel bad all the time, so they don't need our help doing that. They need our help feeling good. 3, offer support without pushing progress. Right? We're there for them as long as they need it, for whatever they need it for. We're not here to be their taskmaster, to move them forward. And honestly, as somebody who supports victims, it can be quite frustrating because you wish they would just get it in their head and get out of this situation. But that's not for us to decide. We need to be there supporting them wherever they're at. So no pushing. We offer invitations only. 4, validate their point of view, then invite them to move up one rung of the ladder. So when we're working with clients, they're going to have off perceptions. They're going to have crazy notions, right? That's part of why they're being abused. That's why they got in this situation. That's why they can't get out. We cannot push them away by denying their truth. In fact, that's what their abuser does to them too. So we have to start with acceptance, and then we follow it up with a reinterpretation and an invitation, right, to one step up the hierarchy of emotions. So you haven't seen this graphic before, you're going to want to look it up, but essentially from top to bottom, there's a sequence of emotions that you work through. You can't jump from feeling like crap to feeling really good, right? You have to move up. Sometimes they say the bargaining, acceptance, all those stages of grief. This is a little different, but is very powerful. So I hope this helped you, and make sure that you stay tuned for the third part where I talk about how to turn attracting these type of individuals into a abundant, vibrant, growing Reiki practice.
Wanting to expand your Reiki practice to reach more people and maybe for more profit is not a bad idea. If you speak another language, it can help you expand your Reiki practice while you enjoy the extra opportunities to heal from doing so. Adding a second language to your service expands your practice and reaches out to more of the population. You want to do some market research, because it's not unusual for people who speak different languages to desire a different menu of services. For instance, many Latinos who are attracted to your curandera barrida de huevo practice of energy sweeping your clients with an egg, it's a cultural thing. It's something that we all grew up with, and it's hard to find in today's alternative healing. Since I have already authorized you to add this to your Reiki practice, you can easily expand Reiki practice to appeal to the Spanish-speaking community. Of course, you will need to learn to speak Spanish, really. So have someone in your office that can speak Spanish fluently to keep these clients on board. So once you have figured out what alternative language you will be adding to your practice, you will need to do some marketing to let your new potential customers that you are offering to cater to their specialized services. Did you know that only 75% of the businesses have multilingual marketing? You will see the best bang for your buck by marketing online through your branded website and social media, like Facebook. Facebook has a good pay to play advertising programs where you can easily market your specific target audience. There are also other free sites where you can promote your second language offerings, such as Craigslist.org. A little creativity here, a little creativity there can easily maximize your marketing efforts online, earning more in your Reiki practice and extending your offerings could change your personal world as well. The majority of businesses on the world web, including online stores and other marketing material, used only English because it's the most popular language on the internet. Even though English is the most used language on the internet, Spanish is the second most used in the United States. So what is your multilingual marketing strategy for multiplying your products? It may be difficult to determine because it involves using more than one language. There are many Vietnamese here in this area. So in our market approach, it would include translating the content into Spanish and Vietnamese. This market strategy involves a professional translation. Content consideration needs to be evaluated due to the differences between the cultures and people. And in this way, your multilingual strategy will gain a competitive edge and reach your target customers. You will have to change your website as well and implementing both languages, which will give you the ability to reach other countries who use these languages. That means you can heal and serve more people, which means more revenue. This too will mean you will need to provide more bilingual workers. Once this market starts gaining speed, a Reiki master that's well versed in distant healing and can easily become adept to offering your services over the internet by using any of the online video communication services such as Skype or Zoom. This can have a huge impact on your Reiki practice. Most people who are bilingual speak their native language. Even though they speak English and understand it, most people prefer to communicate in their native tongue. They feel more comfortable when speaking their native language, like I do. Even though I speak English, I feel I can be better understood if I'm wanting something in particular. I really definitely will come back and spread the word about this establishment onto my friends, especially if the staff is nice and very helpful. You can also use discounts to entice new second language customers. to stop by and check out your establishment as part of the market strategy. There's nothing wrong with cutting down or cutting back prices. Cut back on some services if you can afford it. Give something away or have a sale on products that aren't selling very well at this time. When you discount certain services, it can help you attract new clients while hone your skills, becoming more experienced as you get people to take advantage of your services that may not have done so prior to announcing your discount. How about getting a healing if you buy 2 for the same price and another for 50% off for the next healing sessions? When I used to have a 3-day retreat, I charged $150 for each person a day. I provided sleeping quarters for those who made an early arrangement. But if you brought food to share, I deduct $25. This would help feed more people during their break times. I would also include breakfast if people showed up an hour early and helped me set up so I could start early or on time. As the Reiki Master CEO of your own Reiki practice, you could use your imagination. You can grow your practice and profit from any wise ideas you could come up with to expand your services. When your Reiki practice appeals to a larger population, you will see an increase in traffic on your website from different cities or regions in your home website. Continue to update your website in the languages that you started with and continue to increase as more of your pages continue to be updated in their original languages you set them up with. Your approach on the web will increase more than 20% real quick, which means a greater increase in profits. If you're continuing to go international and you continue to translate your website, it is very much more cost effective than most anything else you could do to increase market share.
Networking with a Reiki circle. What is a Reiki circle? A Reiki circle is also known as a Reiki share by some Reiki practitioners. At a Reiki circle or share, practitioners of all levels and types of Reiki may be inclined to do just that, share Reiki. They give and receive Reiki freely to one another. They bring in their positive energies to join them together to create a positive healing and collective consciousness environment to share source energy. Generally, there is no cost or low cost, maybe even donations, typically just to cover the expenses of the space. Reiki circles are also known to be of great value to one that may be suffering from trauma, grief, or anxiety, or various other things. When they come together collectively, focusing on one goal, the results are often astounding. There is no set rules or laws for holding a Reiki circle. I have encouraged the practitioners I have invited to mine to bring someone who is not familiar with Reiki and its powerful energies. This is an opportunity for them to learn and see firsthand how it works. And it opens networking opportunities through them having an amazing experience. Another addition to this could be inviting people to come in virtually through Zoom or Skype using distance Reiki. A sample format for a Reiki circle would be, first, you might want to decide on a space that will be appropriate for your event. You will need a room minimum of 1 massage table. I have had up to 4 tables at an event space, enough for seating. I prefer to seat my practitioners in a circle. However, it's not a must. You can seat them at tables or whatever is comfortable for you in what you've got on your agenda. You will need to pick a date to hold your event. Personally, I like to have a written agenda to help keep things moving smoothly. For example, a beginning time like 9 a.m. with a grounding meditation, introductions, things of this nature. You do not have to follow it. Use it as a guideline and have lots of fun. Choose your time frame. The agenda helps to know how much time you will need for the space, so you can pick your hours. You'll need a guest list. You can choose many ways to get the word out, like Facebook, Twitter, text messages, phone calls. I recommend that you ask for RSVPs as well, as if they will be joining physically or virtually. Select a music list. Often I choose Reiki music from YouTube. They have a great variety. Be sure and have a timer at the event so you can keep the time. So each person has an opportunity to receive Reiki. You can send a special invitation to someone inviting them to bring singing bowls or drums, then add that into your invitation as a special guest. I've also had someone who led us in a chakra toning exercise. That was an amazing experience, how all of us who do not practice came together with beautiful tones. Decide if you would like to offer refreshments, such as lemon water, fruit, nuts, cookies, tea. The important thing here is to check in with your inner guidance on what feels right for you and make it a joyful experience for all. This makes follow-up connections possible later, and when we have a great experience, we as humans innately talk about it and connect. Networking at its finest.
Expanding your services helps to expand your customer base. You can serve more people who need Reiki when you expand your series to serve a wider audience. One of the easiest integrations to make is to appeal to the broader, holistically focused potential client. These people look to holistic resources prior to seeking traditional medical practitioners. They generally think medical doctors and drugs are prescribed are generally not the highest and best form of treatment available. Certainly, many of us agree that pharmacy drugs can do a good job of masking the pain or symptoms, but do little or nothing to actually address the underlying problem, whatever that might be. Reiki, as we all know, sends healing God source energy to the source of the complaint. It is both powerful and a bit sneaky as it gets past the unconscious mind without setting off any alarms and goes directly to the source of the pain or discomfort. You can help to capture this holistic movement by offering holistic services, which Reiki definitely is, but it is limited to those who know Reiki and are seeking to get this type of energy healing done. You basically want to do your expansion to your Reiki practice in 3 areas. 1, adding coaching services. 2, adding another complementary holistic alternative healing method. And 3, add holistic related products and services. For instance, I am a natural alternative specialist, Olympian life coach, and have a passion for herbs, and they provide an alternative to pharmacy meds. So let's take a look at becoming a life coach. Now, you can offer another level of service to your Reiki practice, but know that as a life coach, you don't necessarily have to focus on general life coaching. You can specialize in an area that complements your practice amazingly. My first suggestion might be to offer holistic coaching. This works best because this is appealing to your target market and it fits nicely with your new position in the marketplace. To treat the whole person, body, mind, and spirit, and soul. Other types of coaching to consider adding that would complement your Reiki practice might include health coaching, mindful coaching, spiritual life coaching, and wellness coaching. Though you would not be limited to any of these, you just have to figure out what's right for you. Your complementary alternative healing method to add with your Reiki practice might include a therapeutic science-based therapy, such as aromatherapy, chakra healing crystals, healing light, or therapies. You might also consider something like guided visualization, emotional freedom techniques, dream interpreter, past life regression, tea leaf, tarot, or palm reading, or other psychic related services. Just make sure that whatever you decide to try to add into your practice, it doesn't need to be a lifelong marriage. You can just try it out and see if it works. See if it works for you. See if it works for you to attract new types of clients that would also be interested in Reiki energy healing services as well. Just know that for every new menu item you add to you will increase your reach to a new target market, hopefully with enough in common with your original Reiki clients that the new people who are coming in would also like having access to your Reiki energy healing services as well. We have already talked about the nearly endless array of holistic products and services that you can add to your practice to widen your market appeal, as well as expanding income earning potential by offering more ways for each client to support you financially as you are being true to who you are and living the life that you want to live on your own terms, of course. You cannot just buy some stuff that you can mark up to make some money. No, you can't do that. You need to be a professional, and that means you are going to have to study and apply some smarts to what you want to add to your menu of services. So you will be far ahead of the game if you focus your attention on the things that excite you, the things that you love to do, the things that complement you when you are completed the task associated with them. Even if you really, really love something, there is a good chance that making it a part of your Reiki practice will sometimes find you not liking the things that you once loved. When it starts to feel too much like work, so do whatever you can to keep it light and enjoyable, and know when to be completely serious about what you're doing. My preference and what I get the most joy out of is discovering the power of natural herbs and minerals and how they can best help my clients and their needs. And keep in mind that a multi-level product-based organization might have something of value to add to your practice as well. You might also consider becoming a natural alternative specialist yourself. Whatever you do, just remember to be true to you and your calling. Don't add something to your practice just for the money, and only consider adding products and services that complement your Reiki practice.
Hello, this is Lolo Lesser again with Empatherian Movement for Peace. And I'd like to talk to you today about teaching chronic fatigue clients energy generating with Empatherian movement. So in our world, about 2.5 million Americans suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome, many of them undiagnosed, according to the statistics that I found. So you can give momentarily relief with Reiki. I know that helps. Reiki's powerful healing modality does generate energy in the body, and it relieves stress momentarily, very important. But perhaps you found that the effect doesn't last longer than 24 to 48 hours on a true chronic fatigue sufferer, if you've had one of those clients to work with. Chronic fatigue syndrome is actually finally getting some respect from the medical establishment, but I'm afraid it's too little, and it's pretty much too late for a lot of people. Also known as myalgic encephalomyelitis. Oh, long word. Encephalomyelitis. Myalgic encephalomyelitis. Don't think we'll ever have to say that again. Anyway, chronic fatigue syndrome has been dismissed as psychological by conventional medicine So they just say that the fatigue syndrome is needing antidepressants, cognitive behavioral therapy, and graded exercise therapy. This is the treatment plan. Sleep hygiene, discouraging oversleeping, and referrals to support groups. Well, it's not bad for a beginning. But no, it's actually counterproductive to have this point of view towards a very real physical illness that debilitates people to the point of total withdrawal from life. It's very sad for many people. And it really is becoming quite prevalent, a lot of people. So, in fact, we have a new channel of getting people with these same kind of symptoms. Recently, Dr. Anthony Fauci compared the experience of COVID-19 long haulers. You've heard of the people who have finished with the COVID-19 and yet they still have symptoms. And Dr. Fauci has compared them with people with CFS whose complaints are very similar, and both being referred to psychotherapy and exercise. Symptoms of stress, depression, and deconditioning after illness. So that's also the same thing. Many chronic fatigue patients also had an initiating virus event. They got a virus and then they got the chronic fatigue. So that's a very close correlation. A correlation that may help us to get some key for both of these. But anyway, there's some keys we do have. There's a complex mechanism really at play in the body. Recent research in Norway has found encouraging responses to antiviral and immunosuppressant drugs. Well, that's good, but unfortunately the side effects of the drugs, and really not totally conclusive results, it makes for poor reasons to start this very expensive therapy. So I had personal experience with chronic fatigue many years ago, and I'd like to share with you what I've learned. And I've also heard online many other stories, and I've also met a lot of people with chronic fatigue, and they also have a common story like mine. I discovered that I had allergies to 38 pretty common foods. And after 90 days of eliminating those foods completely from my diet, pretty stark diet at that point, I felt miraculously better. I felt miraculously better within a week and a half, actually. I also simultaneously, at the same time, embarked on a path to change my life forever. And following my passion into psychology and meditation at Naropa University. Part of our curriculum at Naropa University included mind-body practices, which I've refined and developed into my mother's concept for Empatharian Movement for Peace, of course. And I think that, let's see, what else have I got here for you? There are multiple medicinal components in doing the movement practice of Empatharian for chronic fatigue patients especially. But diet is major in restoring gut health, I believe, and getting restorative nutrients into the cells in the bloodstream, rebuilding strength and immunity. The neurological health of the body is a major piece of the chronic fatigue syndrome, which really needs to be addressed. And it's well addressed with Empatharian as a holistic treatment, in addition to Reiki. So you have some things to do physically, I think, with diet, and there's other things because the neurological makeup of our body has been stressed. So that is one of the things that many people have a history of at least 10 years of pretty severe stress, which I had also in my life, which was one of the reasons I changed it and found the passion. And that's really part of it too. People finding passion in their lives, that's very healing. So the particular multiple medicinal components that in doing the movement practice of Empatherian that are especially good for chronic fatigue patients are, I mean, it would be good to do in addition to Reiki. I'm not going to say it's better than Reiki or instead of. I just would like to say that this is something that has incredible medicinal benefits. And the reasons is because, first of all, I have about 12 things that it does that specifically address parts of this syndrome. So teaching breathing techniques which trigger parasympathetic responses. Parasympathetic responses are like rest and digestion. That's digestion is from the parasympathetic nervous system, which is stopped when you're having sympathetic responses, which is the fight, flight, or freeze that comes with high cortisol levels and gets in the way of your adrenal functioning because it's going all the time. And so it wears out your adrenals. So the second thing, gentle stretching, musculoskeletal. I said I wouldn't trip over that word. Musculoskeletal strengthening, which avoids the post-exertional malaise that makes the symptoms worse. You see, because of this, because post-exertion, after exercise, a lot of chronic fatigue patients experience a real coming down. It gets worse. So in order to avoid that, you need to do pretty gentle stuff. So the idea of prescribing normal kinds of exercise to a chronic fatigue patient is complete nonsense and a fool's errand, really. The Empatherian, however, really helps the patient to move gently and safely, which is important to well-being and overall health. So we're keeping them moving very gently. The movements are very simple, slow, feel good. So the dynamic structural integration, spines and chakra areas align and are stimulated to work together in harmony doing the movements. Dynamic structural, that's dynamic structural integration. And then we have active relaxation of the mind and body, which is as you move from your core, deepening and intentionally directing the body to relax each muscle consciously. So that's the benefit. Actually, when you meditate, you get that directing, relaxing. And this one you can do in movement, that same benefit that meditation brings. Our number 5 is awareness, mindfulness, focused attention. So the mind expands and focuses at the same time, using the words of the movement meditation as a vehicle to bringing awareness and mental clarity. This has a tendency over time and with practice to dispel the brain fog, which is one of the major symptoms of ME/CFS. That's chronic fatigue, ME/CFS. The philosophy of peace building. This is number 6 component. The philosophy of peace building, spirituality, and ritual. The movements motivate expansion of the patient's spiritual energy, and the spiritual energy motivates the movement practice. So that's actually a really helpful thing to be doing the practice on a regular basis, being motivated from that spiritual place. And Then number 7, emotional expression. Different from martial arts, where the emotions are held back, held in check, Empatherian channels emotions into more movements, doing improvisational dance as part of the practice. After we finish doing the practiced individual 12 to 14 sentence, the sentence I read you, then we will do improvisational dance or movements to some musical selections. And that really helps the patient to work through and heal wounds and trauma. Dance is a very healing thing, and it's always at your own pace and private when you do it this way. So we also have a component where we can talk about it, but it's not necessary. Simply the movement is healing. So I guess that's it. So contact empatherian.com for a schedule of online courses or an individual consultation for you and your patient. Thank you.
Have you been a Reiki master for a while and it seems like no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to break through that income earning ceiling you seem to have set for yourself? Well, get ready to say goodbye to all that financial limitation you've suffered from in the past. Now that you have Lightning Reiki plug-in, get ready to ride your abundance and prosperity, and it starts here and now. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. From this point forward, I will not dispense any healing or lightning Reiki without receiving money first. Period. Now, I know you've been programmed to think of your Reiki practice as being more of a ministry than a source of revenue. By limiting yourself in your practice, you're not only doing yourself a huge disservice, you're denying the Creator and the greater community for not living out your life in remunerated service, which is part of your calling and purpose in this life. As you know from your Reiki Master training, Reiki healing requires an energetic exchange. You and I agree that everything is energy, right? And the most popular form of energy exchange in the world today is monetary system, right? Right. So it's the easiest method of exchanging energy in our society. It's simple and it's easy. You value my service, you need it, we agree on a value, and you give me cash that's equivalent to the agreed upon value. Easy. Now, I'm not saying that money is the only method of exchange. No. Most anything can be used for energetic value exchange, but you must receive payment in one form or another before you agree to deliver your Reiki services. For some reason, this is hard to accept for many Reiki masters, but not to worry. There's hope for you. What if your ability to be open and receptive to receiving not only payment for your services, but to attract wealth in the process for being obedient, respectful, and diligent in your answering the call to serve and heal the world, one life at a time? What if it's the result of negative chain of emotional pain or programming? Hey, that's the best news ever. Why? Because you have the power of Lightning Reiki at your disposal. Yeah, it's not just about serving your clients. It's here to use for you anytime you want for yourself right now. Okay, it's not enough to call this chain of money blocking links that have been accumulated over a lifetime money blocks. No, we have to find an emotional anchor to start the chain with. So what kind of money block do you have? Pick one of these common money blocks that resonate with you. I mean, you feel it when you say it or hear it. It just makes you feel bad. Maybe you heard your parents say, "What? Am I made of money?" Or, "Money doesn't grow on trees." "Rich people are evil." Or alternatively, "Money is the root of all evil." "I'm not worthy of having a lot of money." "Money can't buy love or happiness." The more money you have, the more problems you have. You have to work really, really hard for your money. Money isn't important. No way! I can't get paid for doing what I love. I don't care about money. I just want to help people. Pick one of these common money blockages or get one in mind that really touches your emotions, like it's what's standing between you and all the best things this life has to offer. Okay, now that you have one in mind that you can feel the emotional weight of, give it a random number between 1 and 100. Now don't worry about the number. Just give it the first number between 1 and 100 that pops into your head. Okay, I'm going to use number 17 for my number. And when I say 17, say whatever number it is that you came up with. Okay? You with me? All right. Take a deep cleansing breath in and out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And relax. Breathe in. Breathe out. Are you ready to eliminate the entire chain of negative money blocks that have accumulated and hidden themselves at various places inside your body once and for all? Put your hands in the lightning Reiki position and place them lightly on your head with the opening over your crown chakra. And using your imagination, see the golden bright light from source above streaming down through you and into the earth, and completely surging through every cell of your body for a moment, while you prepare to release a burst of energy through the palms of your hands. Now you're going to release all that negative energy associated with this number 17 throughout your life. Every poisonous link of the chain will be cauterized and vaporized while you retain all the wisdom from these money blockages, and you'll be able to process them painlessly if necessary at any time in the future. Are you ready? On the count of 3, exert a light jolt of pressure and say, "Oh!" Then release the pressure, but keep your hands on your head. Ready? This will release the Seek and Destroy Reiki lightning bolt. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Now remember to replace your number when I say my number, 17, and repeat after me. I release all number 17 and all the associated dramas and traumas and pain associated with the number 17 through this life, time, and space. I also release any need for forgiveness, indebtedness, guilt, sin, remorse, blame, or shame associated with this number 17. I now invite the God Source energy flowing from above to replace any displaced energy with health, wealth, happiness, love, creativity, and wild abundance. Move your hands and sweep the top of your head, sealing the process. Congratulations! You are now free from any of those old money blockages, and you are free to experience your highest and best earning abilities and all the good things this life has to offer. You are now in the driver's seat of your financial life from this point forward. If you have any questions or comments, or if you would like to get a certificate to verify your Lightning Reiki attunement today, you can drop me an email. I'm David M. Masters, and you can find out more about me at davidmmasters.com. Daniel, back to you.
Welcome back. In my final presentation in this series, I will be sharing 6 quick tips on how to establish a successful professional business serving victims of toxic people. I want to make it clear the use of the terms professional and business here because I want to emphasize that our practice must embody 3 core qualities these words represent. To reach our highest level of potential as healers, we must 1. Establish and uphold a code of ethics for our craft. 2. Refine and utilize our craft efficiently. And 3. Grow our organization in an upward spiral that is energized by every client that we serve. Too often hobbyist Reiki masters or energy healers squander their gifts by just playing around with a lack of focus. Being a professional healer means we know what is our responsibility and what isn't. We avoid getting too entangled and influenced by our clients' lives as to be knocked off balance. Instead, we operate at the highest level of our craft. Being businesslike means we cut away every inefficient activity while prioritizing providing value to our clients. We also expect that every time we service a client, we're experiencing a net energetic gain. Energy is rewarded with energy, whether monetary, service exchange, or barter. The more you work, the more power you should have to improve your craft, bring in appropriate help, improve your facilities, and otherwise grow rather than being depleted. If you fear taking on too many clients, then you have a problem. Tip 1. Put money in its place. Deal with money matters up front, preferably before the date of the healing appointment. This ensures clients come in with the proper frame of mind. You are a professional providing a service. And it helps separate your arts from any hang-ups on money that your clients might have. Victims of toxic people may not have autonomy in regard to how they spend their money. All receipts should be as generic as possible. Avoid any wording that might indicate your client is getting help to overcome their abuser, because if discovered, this will likely end your sessions in a hurry. Accept cash if you can, as this may be the only option for some clients. Encourage a commitment to receive healing on the part of the client by offering discounts if they buy a number of sessions in advance, or if they are willing to start a sequence of weekly or monthly sessions that are auto-charged to their credit card. Pretty much all payment processors such as PayPal and Stripe offer easy-to-use subscription features, which makes this type of discount possible and automated. Tip 2. Reach out to people that need your services. As I discussed before, most victims of narcissists probably don't realize that they need your help or would be benefited by your services. Find victims where they are and reach out to them directly. Offer prospective clients a free service. At the very least, free services are a good way to get your message out to new people, while getting more experience treating victims. Over time, you develop more and more steady clients and referrals, which will support your business in the long term. Tip 3. Have a wide variety of services you offer. Providing more value to every client you serve every time you see them means that you can level up your practice more quickly. This allows you to get more education, bring in other professionals to help you grow so you can focus on what you do best rather than logistical details, and magnify your outreach through increasingly sophisticated marketing. Examples of value-added services include essential oils, crystals, massage, life coaching, EFT, meditation, and yoga trainings. Tip 4. Find new ways to market yourself. Currently, social media sites such as YouTube and Instagram video have huge potential for finding and attracting a huge audience. You don't have to be a cinematographer or video expert to do well there. Just be honest, helpful videos shot on a cell phone with decent lighting and audio will attract you more clients than you know what to do with. In the last year, one of my relatively meager YouTube channels got over 50,000 views, reaching a stadium of people for no money and very little effort. And many people do much better than this, reaching in the hundreds of thousands of people with a single video. Additionally, target ads on Facebook and Google are another good option for in-person practices. You can market ads on these services to people in specific geographic areas, so you can find people in your city or state ready to receive your services that would not have been able to receive such services otherwise. You can also attract clients for free by joining Facebook forums, helping answer their questions first and then offering free services to people in need. Or you can even attend local groups and offer to people one-on-one. For creative professionals, modern marketing is easier and more effective than it ever has been before. Tip 5. Ensure you have a professional rapport with your clients. When we take on a client, even friends or family, we must make a clear delineation between ourselves as the individual and ourselves as the healer. As a healer, we are responsible for our clients' well-being. We don't overstep our professional bounds. We are somebody that our clients can look up to and trust. In a way, we are assuming the role of a supportive parent for the short time when they are with us. When you are the healer, be the healer. Look the part. Don't complain or gossip. Be intent on focusing on the good that you are there to do for the client. Even if the unexpected happens, take everything in stride with an unshakable aura of confidence and competence. Surprise is something no one likes to hear from a professional working for them, much less their professional healer. When working with victims, expect to be a therapist at times. When you work with them, they will feel the desire to vent and be supported. When this happens, listen with an open and non-judgmental heart. Empathize with them, and above all, be non-judgmental of both them and their abuser, because otherwise you will easily fall into a downward spiral of judgment that is not conducive to healing. Instead of working to solve their problems, assist them in acknowledging where they are without judgment and invite them to take the next step up the emotional ladder. You are someone they respect and eventually may love because of what you do for them. From this role, invite them to make you proud by caring about themselves, and express your pride for what they do every little step that they take. As you work your healing arts, be very clear with your client about what you are doing, why you are doing it, and what benefits they will get when you do it. This helps client realize the value that they are getting and stay engaged with your work. With these 5 tips, you are well underway to building a profitable professional practice serving a client base in need of much help. For more information, feel free to reach out to me directly at overcomingtoxicpeople.com.
It is common among Reiki masters to charge very little or even nothing at all for their Reiki healing services. This is why most Reiki masters are unable to survive on their own because of their undercharging. You need to realize that if you're going to help heal others using your Reiki gifts and abilities, you need to allow yourself to be paid for your healing. You may have forgotten that as part of your Reiki training, you understood that healing with Reiki requires payment upfront before you heal your clients. It really doesn't work as well without payment, right? For example, now that Reiki is being offered as a patient support services in the hospital, would you believe that? Reiki practitioners are paid by the patient in a roundabout way. The patient has insurance. The insurance pays the hospital, and the hospital pays the Reiki practitioner. In this roundabout way, the patient is still paying the Reiki practitioner even though the money is routed through the hospital, which is actually paying the energy healers in advance of their being paid by the insurance company. When a client comes to you for healing, you must be paid first. My mother always made sure she was paid before healing anyone. Though occasionally, when she would take an IOU in the form of a promissory note, that would sign basically in blood. Not really, not actually, but it really meant something to sign an IOU for my mom. Plus, I think that there was a bit of a fear about what might happen if they did not pay as a promised note. Not that my mother would ever put a curse on anybody, but there was still a cultural fear that maybe something bad might happen if someone didn't pay for their healing. And there were plenty of legendary stories and myths about poor souls who tried to get one over a healer by not paying. My mother was also accepted many kind of forms of payment. Many of her clients were modest immigration workers who could not afford to go to the doctor or to the hospital. So she would let them pay energetically in other forms, in other than cash. They would pay with fresh fruits, vegetables, or in exchange for labor, but they paid in advance. If they were able to otherwise, they would use the IOU. All of this to say the rule to follow is to charge your clients upfront before you engage in healing to ensure that there is actual energetic exchange. You have to have energetic exchange, which creates a balanced spiritual healing. Energy workers of all kinds tend to undercharge for their healing services. It wasn't long ago that it would cost $20,000 to become a Reiki master and take 3 years of study and practice on top of that. I practiced under Diane Steen, who pretty much destroyed the high price of Reiki training that was only available at that time to the elite. She attuned groups of Reiki students in the weekends at a crash course at a low cost. That led to bargain priced Reiki training all over the world because Reiki masters were not paying high prices for their training. They feel uneasy because they felt uneasy about charging higher prices for their services. It's like saying, how could I charge a high price if I didn't pay a high price? But what you are forgetting to consider is that it is very likely that what you pay for your Reiki training is more the same than you might think. For instance, for someone who is rich, $20,000 is a reasonable cost to pay for the right to open their own energy healing practice. Think about it. Let's say you only spent $1,000 for your master training. It is highly likely that you spend far more comparison for your training than that rich person, because the $1,000 came at a far more sacrifice to you than the $20,000 felt like letting go for a wealthy person. So forget about it. The excuse doesn't work anymore. So forget about it and let it go. But there's still your low self-esteem or imposed lack of worthiness. You were probably raised to believe that you are not worth much. So you price your healing services accordingly. Most of us who are not from wealthy families have been conditioned by our parents or by our communities not to expect too much, not to want too much, because reality dictates that you will be stuck living in a modest life, where you work very hard for very little, trying just to make a living as best you can. If you don't expect too much, you cannot be too disappointed. You are less likely to suffer for wanting more than you deserve. I know how it goes, but you have to let go of that too, because even though your body is only worth $600 or less in raw materials, you add the fact that you have a direct connection with God Source. The God Source energy, you are a form of God living this life for the pure joy of being here to enjoy all of creation. You are royalty, but you have to step out of your poverty and into your royalty. You have a special gift that is not Kmart priced. You're a royal energy worker with an amazing ability to heal others without all the side effects of traditional pharmacy medications. Actually, Reiki heals people who are receptive to this healing God energy source. So raise your prices accordingly, whatever you're charging now. Double it. If the bottom doesn't fall out of your Reiki practice, double it again and keep doubling it until no one wants to pay you anymore. Then you can keep that high price and offer a discount to the highest lower price that your clients are willing to pay. This is your sweet spot. Next year, double your price again and see what happens, and let the universe adjust your pay. Just in case God thinks it's time you got a raise for all the good work you do. If you don't do it, you will never know if you are ready for a raise or not. Plus, you're also going to expand your Reiki practice so you can make even more money. If you're going to add an ancient curandera barrida de huevo, practice of energy, sweeping your client with an egg. And you are now considering of expanding your market reach by adding a second or third language to your Reiki practice. Now you're ready to grow your potential and allow yourself to have more prosperity and abundance. God bless you as you increase your potential to do your greatest good to the world. And if you need more information, you can contact me, Rosa M. Luna, at rosamluna.com. Thank you, and God bless you.
Reiki and an energy exchange. Is it ethical to give Reiki without the exchange of energy or money? As spiritual professionals know, it is important to complete the energy circuits. That is what is meant by energy exchange. When one receives something of value and gives something in return. There are many ways one can do this within their Reiki practice. Money is a form of an energy exchange. Money can be an evil or a blessed form of an energy exchange, depending upon the intentions of the giving as well as the receiving of it. Many things can be misused in this same way as money, such as love. When one misuses their intentions with love, it can be harmful as well as money. For one to assume another's intentions behind using money as a form of energy exchange may be a form of judgment. So let's open ourselves up to listening to our own highest good and guides. Go within and ask what you are guided to do, to receive and give as an energy exchange in this 3D space, this 3D world. Things to take into consideration when determining what is best for you when it comes to an energy exchange. Now, this may be a very personal, no two people may agree on this topic. There are many valid opinions as well as ideas on this matter. Be sure you're checking in with yourself, with your higher self, frequently when determining what best suits you today. We are living in a fast-paced, changing world. As an energy healer, one's time is very precious, just as everyone else's is. A Reiki session is typically 30 minutes to 90 minutes. Energy healers give much more than just the healing session, such as Reiki. A practitioner also has an energy exchange for the space they provide for the session. To be able to perform the session, you will receive in an ethical manner with proper privacy. This most often also requires electricity for heat to keep you comfortable and lights. There's also an exchange of personal time and energy. A practitioner must exude. They also use personal time and energy to create a vibration within the physical space by bringing in crystals and possibly oils, as well as music that creates the personal essence their higher selves guide in doing. All this varies from one practitioner to another. Some may open their homes to be able to serve you. A practitioner may also use their personal time to energetically cleanse the area they use before and after each session, ensuring it is ready for you to receive the best possible experience. All of what I have said varies from one practitioner to another, as well as the needs of each client and the type of energy exchange. Some different forms of an energy exchange. Energy healing is pure energy from source. We as practitioners often have an innate sense of intuition. Optimally, we give our healings with an unconditional love beyond an exchange. However, practitioners also have responsibilities within this 3D world to be able to assist others with energy healing. I have personally done trading as a means of energy exchange. This could be for things such as accounting or coaching or healing, for healing from another practitioner of a different modality. There are endless things one could trade for that will create an unconditional exchange of energy. However, you as a practitioner choose to complete the circuit. Always do it with everyone involved's highest and best at heart, full of love. The universe will take care of the rest. I'm Wendy Johnson with Source Energy Therapy.
Now that you have expanded your menu items, how do you add healing alternative items to each client who comes in for a Reiki session? It is not as hard as you might think, and you have to let go of any ideas that you are trying to get away with something because you are not. What you are doing is adding value to your customer's experience by enhancing their experience from their work with you. If you are not sending your client home with something to take away with him or her, you are not doing as good a job for your client as you could. To give your client the best experience, make sure he or she leaves with something besides just your healing services. Any physical item that your client can take home with him or her reminds your client about the experience they had with you in your office. This creates affinity with your client. Think about it. If you send a Reiki client home with a crystal necklace, she wears this around her neck for at least 1 week. For 7 days, every time she looks in the mirror, she sees you and is reminded about your session. When other people in her circle of influence see the necklace, they ask, "Where did you get that beautiful necklace?" The result is free advertising for you, which may open up an interesting conversation about you and your services. That could lead to generating a new client for you. The more things you can send your client home with, the more connection you have with your client, which grows over time. These days, it is not just about how much you can earn from each visit you have with your client. Future of your practices and how effective it can be in your community depends on the connection that you share with your customers. Total each receipt for your client's visit. Let's say the total from the visit was $250. $100 for the Reiki session, $50 for a Reiki enchanted necklace, $55 for a therapeutic potted plant, and $25 for 2 ounces of Reiki enhanced fenugreek. The amount that you received from that client over what were paid for your Reiki sessions is $130. Indicates your success in building connection with your client. Good job. Keep up the good work. Next, adding healing alternative items to your menu increases your efficiency and allows for greater financial blessings for you and yours. This is an exciting journey that you are on of expanding your services and the good that you can bring to your community and the world. Thank you, and have a happy and prosperous future full of all the things that you would love to see in this life. And if you want to know more about herbs and minerals and how they can add to your Reiki healing practices, you can contact me directly. My name is Juanita Holiday. I am your natural alternative specialist, and you can find out more about me and contact me at juanitaholiday.com. Thank you for listening, and have a great new year, and God bless. Adios.
Hello, Lola Lesser here with Empatharian Movement for Peace. Have you ever thought of becoming a trainer of the work that you do? Maybe training others so that they too can have a thriving practice, serving private clients who need Reiki? As we know, everyone needs Reiki. So there's plenty of people in the client pool. So Empatharian can really help you to train others, to train trainers, and to expand what you are training with Empatharian. Empatharian is a model that can work one-to-one or in groups. One facilitator, the groups would be one facilitator to 4 to 5, 15 clients. Nowadays we're doing all this via online meetings, either in a Zoom meeting room or other platform. While with Reiki, you do primarily one movement of energy healing over and over again. That's my understanding anyway. Empatharian is many more movements. So the beginning set is 12 to 14 movements. Easy to do, and each one is representing meaning, a word in a sentence about peace building. So the intention is to train and cultivate peace builders, building peace individually for themselves, their family, and for the wider community in the world. Relationships improve, positive energy is nurtured, and people thrive. So relationships is really what our world is all about, and we want that to be maximized with Reiki and with Empatharian. So, Empatharian is energy work, as is Reiki, of course. And so it's a kind of Reiki. And it's a kind that is almost as easy as Reiki to spread and teach. It has loads of concrete benefits, both in the short term and the long term. So let's talk about some of the benefits. Benefits for clients. Like meditation, it brings a calmness and clarity and a sense of purpose to the day. And this feeling lasts probably longer than 24 hours. But it depends on the person, of course. It's a daily or weekly ritual to repeat either with your Empatharian facilitator alone or with your group and your Empatharian facilitator. It gives a great sense of belonging, accomplishment, and satisfaction. Stress seems to melt out of the body, and key areas of the body are stimulated with the movements. Emotional and physical expression is also there in a safe and confidential way that can be introspective as well as cathartic, making a barrier to life, barrier in life, disappear sometimes for people. So that's a really good thing. And it's also energy generating. So finishing a practice session, you feel inspired, energized, full of positive energy that lasts for greater than 12 hours and as much as 72 hours. Like learning a language, this is another benefit, like learning a language and doing exercise all in one. Triple benefits to combat aging, dementia, senility, and actually increase the brain's capacity for learning and retention. So it's really a wonderful thing. It's neurologically, body, mind, and spirit, when they're in alignment, we go much better. So it's a really nice stretch, by the way, for the body that feels good to the body, getting rid of stiffness, body pain, and building up muscle strength. So nurturing People are learning nurturing their own bodies, becoming aligned and comfortable in their own bodies, and loving the body that they have, and feeling good in the body that they have. Being grateful for this body. And also at the same time, another component, we're learning to be non-judgmental, more empathic, more empathetic is the actual word. Empathetic is, I always say empathic, but that's a different thing. Empathetic is what we're becoming. And to communicate with love and with empathy. So that's how communication happens. When you have empathy for the other person, they can hear you. Magic. So it improves your relationships with your family, your friends, your children, your ancestors. It also improves relationships with the earth and all beings. So, and now we're going to talk about the benefits of Empatharian for facilitators. So the people who are facilitating the groups get all those same benefits the clients get, plus you have more to teach your current clients, expanding your services. That's good. And expanding your client base with people who may be interested in Empatharian movement for peace, Empatharian movement for peace as a spiritual practice or a physical practice to help with fatigue or other physical problems. And, there's multiple reasons for wanting to improve our neurological arrangement, organizing and aligning our spinal and energy chakras with a physical practice daily. It's enjoyable. So for the people who may think that Reiki is a face-to-face and hands-on practice, which it may or may not be, Empatharian can be done virtually. You have a whole lot more clients if there are people who think Reiki is something that has to be touch. So you are in a support system. This is another component of the benefits. You're in a support system with more wonderful trainers and other facilitators who are available to support you personally on a regular basis. So it's great to spread the love. This concrete practice gives everyone tools to improve our world. And yes, we're building peace. So the next component we're going to talk about are the benefits of Empatharian for trainers. So we have a level where we have clients, we have facilitators who facilitate client groups, and then we have trainers who train the facilitators. So all the benefits for clients, all the benefits for facilitators, plus if you're a trainer, you have a wider, bigger set of people in your network, of course, possibly from all over the world. And you learn so much from that interaction. It's literally mind-boggling. You become better able to give and receive nurturing and support from your Empatharian trainer network, as well as from your Empatharian trainer. And also, another benefit is you become a conduit for creating the language Empatharian, helping to codify it and keep it growing and becoming more and more intuitive for more and more people. A universal gestural language is something that has never existed in the history of mankind. Each culture has their own set of gestures peculiar to their culture, and it means different things in different countries. So as a trainer, it's your job to bring the cultures together and to create a new, agreed, and understood Empatharian. If you can, that's what we're working on. And in continuous collaboration, of course, with other trainers and facilitators and clients, if need be. So it's all of our work. But the trainer is kind of the conduit. So The other wonderful benefit for a trainer is you will be truly wealthy. Today, this is defined by HuffPost in an entry, "What is the true meaning of wealth?" So today I view true wealth as a three-legged stool. Perhaps you've heard this before, I don't know. The first leg is financial security. The second is living with purpose. And the third is a healthy mind and spirit. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day. And I'd love to hear from you at empatharian.com or send me an email, annempatharian@gmail.com. Thank you.
And our most honorable gratitude goes out to you, each of you who participated today. We are so blessed to share these powerful tools and techniques with you from St. Paul's Free University. Remember, if you would like to enroll in our Reiki Master Business Acumen course at St. Paul's Free University, or any other course of study that will help you to continue this process, setting you free from any of the blockages that could hold you back for ultimate prosperity in your Reiki business, please check us out online at stpaulsfreeuniversity.com, or you can contact any of our presenters here today. Daniel Mark Schwartz can tell you how to receive your certification and continuing education units and credit for attending this event today.
And congratulations to all of you who made it through this series of presentations. If you would like to receive a printed certificate to acknowledge your achievement today, send us an application at the website listed below. That's stpaulsfreeuniversity.com/CRP. That's /CRP. There you can put in your name and mailing address, and we'll get a printed certificate suitable for framing mailed to your door as soon as possible. That's all for today. So make sure you follow us on Facebook to get updates of more free events and certifications as they become available. And thanks for watching.
Also, we want to let you know that we at St. Paul's Free University are looking for people maybe like you who could be good instructors, who have a passion and a story to tell, and are looking to fulfilling their purpose and enlightenment. If that sounds like you, and you've been looking for a platform to take your mission to the world, then St. Paul's Free University might be a good match for you. If you really think you might be a good match, then by all means, reach out to us online at stpaulsfreeuniversity.com or contact any of our presenters that you have met in today's program. Again, from all of us here at St. Paul's Free University, thank you for attending, and God bless you as you prepare for your new Reiki practice with more abundance and more prosperity and living a fulfilling life ahead.